Hey Marshall, just looking at your book cover. So your naming conventions have spaces in them. So that's kind of a no-no on file names. Next time just use camel case or underscores to separate out your words. So I've been kind of playing around with your file. Well, no, wait, this is possibly what you had already. No, this isn't what you have. So I kind of changed this. I made it all uppercase and I put it on 2 lines, and I changed it from Myriad to Helvetica condensed bold, Helvetica new. I think this font pair looks pretty nice, and I did the same kind of thing on the spine as well. I also added the Helvetica condensed uppercase here and here. I did move your image up because it was covering up this and it just didn't look quite right. I did top align these and center them in the panel, maybe a little bit better than, actually that's not great, maybe a little bit better than they were. And I did make this all red, which I don't know if I really like, but the way that it was covering up the imagery was a little bit, it just didn't look quite as good as it could. You just can't tell what those blobs are behind. So maybe even if it was black, like a solid color, I don't know. You know, maybe just making it black, I'm not sure. But it kind of bothered me that it was covering it up to where you can't tell that it's trees. Also, when this printed, the contrast between the gray and the black wasn't quite enough. So going into that original file and fixing that would be good. You have PNG files which are in RGB. So we have a big problem with your files all being in RGB. A lot of the effective PPIs look okay. This one looks good, this one looks good. That one's a little low, the front cover. Maybe you just didn't set it up big enough. Or maybe when you export out the PNG, you just didn't get it high enough res. But use JPEGs or PSD files or AI files, depending on which program you're using. Any of those will be higher res and you can make them CMYK. PNG files are only for, like, you can only have those in RGB color mode and they're not really very good for print. But if you're looking for a transparent background, PSD files, PDFs will work, AI files will work. So yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much what I got for you, is just improving the font pairs, aligning things a little differently, moving this up, and possibly changing this cover here. And if not changing it, then just maybe making these smaller on the spread so that you can see what is going on in the background, so it doesn't look so confusing, like blobs of color. And changing all of your images to RGB or CMYK. So, I mean, if we have these as PNG files, we can do Control-click, or right-click, edit with Photoshop, open it up in Photoshop, image mode, CMYK color, just save it. It can be a PSD file, save, go back in here, we can relink it to the PSD. Let's see, let's go and try and find, I can't find it in here, oh, I'm not looking in the right spot, that's why. Links, PSD file. So it'll automatically update them, and they should be all in CMYK now. So the 2 instances of this are in CMYK. This is still in RGB, so we'd have to change that to a PSD file, CMYK. Same thing with probably all of these. PNG files just aren't good for print, so either JPEG or PSD files are the best. I did notice also your bleeds aren't being adhered to. You know, we need to be making files that include the bleed. So that'd be, if it's 1/8 of an inch on the top and bottom, it'd mean that these need to be 1/4 of an inch taller in the file that you made them in to account for the bleeds. But I think the illustrations you made, I actually really like them. I think you have some, I like your illustration style, and I like that you enjoy that, and I actually really like this little eyeball you made down here. I think that's fun. And the color scheme is pretty good. So, yeah, great job.